Hey guys, Ray from Love Your RV. This video is mostly for my Canadian friends. I get a lot of questions all the time asking what we use for internet data and phone service when we come down here as snowbirds in the US. Now there's all sorts of different plans out there, an incredible amount of different ways to go about it. This is just what we're doing this year. Every year I kind of decide what I'm going to do. Most of my phone plans are always month to month. I don't really go for years on a phone plan, so it gives me the versatility to change every time I go down. So this is what we got going on this year, just out of interest, and it's a video I can send people to when they ask me the question in an email or a comment. So rather than look at my ugly mug the whole video, I'm going to give you a little bit of dash cam footage of us driving through on I-10 in sunny, warm Palm Springs. So let's go to that, and I'll tell you about the plans we're doing. First of all, a big question is, what about Starlink? Is your Starlink satellite internet dish working down there? As some of you know, if you followed my channel, that I got the Starlink back in February and used it in Canada, no problem. It was awesome. In Canada, cell data is quite expensive, and the park we were staying at, the Wi-Fi, even the premium Wi-Fi wasn't that great, so I was willing to spend the extra money for the Starlink service, and it was fabulous. We could just stream video to our heart's content, upload, download all we wanted, and it was very fast. Unfortunately, you can't change countries with the dish. That's not an option that's available yet for Starlink users. But I wanted to try anyway, just to see what they said. So when in BC, I had moved addresses 6 or 7 times. It was no problem. I would just go online and move the little pin to my new address, and when we got there, the Starlink would work no problem. That was all on Vancouver Island, by the way. Once we got into the US, so I tried it. I moved the little pin, and it came up in red lettering. You cannot use, different country, you cannot use. Tried it a few places, same thing would come up in red. I booted up the dish, and the dish actually worked. I could see in its debugging screen that it had contacted satellites and even had the code for a dish as USA, but it just wouldn't connect at all. So just out of interest, I contacted their support, and oh, my dish isn't working, just kind of playing dumb. And they said, oh, you're in a different country and it won't work. And I said, well, is there any timeline to when that will work? I said, there's literally hundreds of thousands of Canadian snowbirds that come south and would like their dish. And they say, yeah, that's a much requested feature, especially for people, seasonal people that have cabins and stuff like that. So they're working on it, and they're working on maybe being able to change countries. So it seems to, what they're saying is it's not really their hardware, it's more all the regulatory issues with each country. So when they sell a piece of hardware, because it receives and transmits signals that has to go through the regulatory bodies in the US. I don't know if it's FCC or something like that. In Canada, there's also our version of that. And so they basically just do it for one country at this point, especially when it's in a beta program. So anyway, it wouldn't work. I was just mainly going to test it here. I find that in Canada, a lot of the areas, it was easy to move the dish around, but from what I'm hearing online, as you get down further south, it becomes harder and harder to find cells as well. And also, if everybody shows up in one area, like, you know, all these people always go to Quartzsite, and there's thousands and thousands of people in Quartzsite. Well, if a lot of people bring their Starlink there and try to fire it up, it'll soon probably reach the capacity of that cell and not work anyway. So there's that, but I won't be able to test it. If I wanted a dish here, I'd have to order a US hardware, so I'd have to pay another $500 US for that. Plus I'd have to try to find an address to register. It's just not worth it for the 6 months we're going to be here. So what did I do? I kind of researched around. We have pretty heavy internet needs because I'm uploading videos and some stuff on the internet with photography and things like that. And we like to, you know, stream TV. We don't have satellite TV, so we like to use streaming services. So I found this company called Cricket, and they had a 100 gigabyte plan for $55 US. Looked pretty good. It runs on the AT&T system, so it's got pretty good coverage. And I could get a little MiFi, kind of a hotspot router for $79 US. So I went down to a Cricket store, got the MiFi, and signed up for the plan. I had to use a friend's address in the US just to get the online account rolling, because they wouldn't take a postal code. I needed a zip code. So I have some good friends here. I used their address just to sign up. And once I signed up, I could get online, and I was able to use my credit card with kind of the zip code hack, where I leave the letters out instead, and I put 848 and then just 2 zeros, and it accepted it. So now I can pay online each month because it's a month-to-month service. So I can go online and pay the next month. I also got it for my phone. My phone has dual SIMs, and we have a Canadian plan. I'll get to that in a minute. But I added the Cricket plan to my phone, and it gives me unlimited talk and text in the US and 10 gigabytes of data on the phone, because I'm kind of the one that goes out for groceries all the time and stuff like that. So I'm out and about. So I wanted a phone that I know I could use data on and for maps and stuff like that. So I pay that as well. So that makes it $95 a month for my American plans. Now, the Canadian side of things, in Canada, we have a plan in BC. It's called Freedom Mobile, and it's owned by the Shaw Cable Company. It used to be Win Mobile, but Freedom Mobile had a plan that was $99 for a year, unlimited talk and text, Canadian nationwide. So we were paying like 8 something a month for unlimited talk and text. The caveat to that is it's only available in like BC and Alberta maybe. And also its coverage isn't that great, but it covered Campbell River really well and most of the islands. So we've been using that, both Ann and I, because it's ultra cheap and served our needs. So they also had an add-on for the US. You pay $100 for 90 days, unlimited talk and text in the US, and 3 gigabytes of data. So we both added that to our phones. My phone is a dual SIM phone, so I can switch between the Freedom plan and the Cricket Wireless plan. And that $99, that's Canadian dollars, and so kind of mixing currencies here. So that's basically all our phone and data plan, and so far it's worked out quite well. The Cricket system and the Freedom, we've been to 11 different places going down the coast from Washington State, Oregon State, and into California. And everything's worked fine. Everywhere we've been, we've gotten 4G LTE coverage, and really fast. And actually, we're done our first month, and 100 gigabytes just lasted us. So we used the 100 gigabytes, and we were watching every night. Probably a couple hours of streaming a day, and we're both on our computers and stuff like that. So it's worked out well for us anyway. So far, we haven't hit too many locations where it's slowed down, because the thing about the Cricket is it's using the AT&T system, but it's they call them their virtual carriers. So sometimes they get provisioned on the cell towers, and you don't get top priority. So if you hit a busy tower, a lot of times you get slowed right down. While the people that are higher T and pay more, like say they have an actual AT&T plan, they would be kind of above you. But so far that's only happened a few times, in a few hours here and there when it's busy in the morning or the evening, stuff like that. But that's fine for us. There was one spot way over on the Washington coast, Ocean Shores, where we were knocked down to a kind of a 3G or something. It was super slow. Our Freedom worked fine, but the Cricket AT&T slowed right down, and also was a very weak signal. And that's actually the only place that I needed to use my new cell booster that I'm testing out, the high boost cell booster that I installed before we left. So out of 11 places that we've stopped, I've only needed the booster once, and it did work. It boosted the signal and the speeds modestly, not super amount, but noticeably boosted the speeds for that. So that's about it. Other than that, we have on the roof, I have a Connect 2 Wi-Fi booster. And sometimes if we're visiting friends in their driveway, we'll get on their Wi-Fi with that. Or if I'm at a casino or somewhere where there's free Wi-Fi, I'll use that. If it's fast enough, we can use that and kind of save some of our cell data. And we've had that for a number of years, and it's worked well. It also has a SIM card slot on it, so I can add a card onto that, but I kind of like the little Cricket MiFi device better. Its battery life seems to be really good, and then we can just take it in the truck if we leave the camper. We're not tied to the camper to get our internet. So that's what we're doing for internet data and cell. If you have any more questions about it, just leave it in the comments. Till next time, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers, folks.